Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing the entire Devil May Cry franchise. So we got Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, 5, 1, 2, and 3, and DMC, which many people do not want to talk about, so let's get into it right away. Devil May Cry HD Collection, this is Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3. They share the options menu in the launcher, so 800p, full screen plus anti-aliasing. And then you launch each game as you want to play it. So the graphic settings are in here. So let's get into the first one. Welcome to Devil May Cry. So it's locked to 60 FPS, no matter what I do. Full controller support, which is awesome. And what to say, it's basically the HD collection version. It fills the entire screen, so that's good. I was expecting forced 16:9, but that's not the case. It's actually 16:10, which is a nice surprise. Regarding battery life, this one uses very little power. I'd say more than 3 hours of battery easily, which is to be expected. I mean, this game is pretty old, but it's a good port when it comes to performance. Oh yeah, I can see the enemies already. And it's 60 FPS, no problem whatsoever. So that's good to see. So yeah, I think I saw enough DMC1. Let's jump into the next one. Well, you know about this one. Uses a little bit more battery than the first game in the franchise, which makes sense. Graphically, it's more complex, or at least it should be. And Dante's hair is magnificent. So it feels weird to be playing this again. But I love that 16:10 is actually supported. I do not like that there doesn't seem to be mip maps on this one. Textures at a distance look pretty pixelated. But hey, what can you do? Yeah, it works completely fine. We got 3.5 hours of battery on this one, if you're interested in checking this one out again. Personally, I didn't like this one. After playing 3, 4, and 5, this one just feels like a huge downgrade. Even Devil May Cry 1, at least in my opinion, feels better to play. But it exists, doesn't seem to have mip maps, unfortunately. And it runs at 60 basically all the time with over 3 hours of battery. Which is great news, at least in my opinion. Devil May Cry 3. This one, I love that it starts right away. And man, this is the first one that I actually played. I think it was on PlayStation 2, so it's been a while. And the controls are way more forgiving than on the previous games. Definitely. I've seen that Devil May Cry, as time went on, allowed more accessibility with the controls, which some people love and, well, some people hate when it comes to controls. Personally, I think that in Devil May Cry 5, controls are perfect. But if it takes some time to practice, it feels just fine, even on the first title in the franchise. And the music is an absolute blast. Although that fridge looks a little bit tiny and pixelated, that makes sense. It's an old game. But I love the jumping graphics from 2 to this one. They did a great job. Although the FMVs are very pixelated, obviously, old game. They basically increase the resolution and texture quality a little bit. And that's about it. So that's a small price to pay, in my opinion. I mean, FMVs are good, but they are not everything. And we got, again, over 3 hours of battery on this one. At least in my opinion, that's great news. You can play this in a very long trip. On Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, we got 800p, 2x MSAA, super high texture resolution, variable frame rate, shadow quality on max, and quality on super high. That's basically it. And this game, in comparison to the previous ones, allows us to basically unlock the frame rate. And right now, at least, we are CPU limited. So we're getting 90s. If you have an OLED Steam Deck, you're in luck. But unfortunately, this game does not have 16:9. It's 16:10. Sorry, it doesn't have 16:10, and it's 16:9. So you have black bars at the top and bottom of the screen. But the good thing is that visuals are great in comparison to the third one, especially. And yeah. Performance is amazing, even with 2x MSAA. I really have fond memories on this one, but I didn't have a good enough PC to run it at 60 FPS. I was playing more like at 30 FPS. So it's so awesome to see that I can get over 100 in a portable computer now. So yeah. Let's lock it to 60 to see the battery life, because with unlocked frame rates, the battery life is affected quite significantly. But man, it's so good to play this portably. Alright, so more than 2 hours of battery, I would say. We're at 94%, and the OS is telling us, hey, it's probably going to be 2 hours. 1 hour 50, which is great. That's a lot of time, in my opinion, for a game that runs so well. Oh, not this way. My bad. Let's keep climbing then. But this is when it started releasing on PS3, 360, all that good stuff. So let's continue this way, I guess. And you got full camera control. It's no longer fixed camera angles. I cannot go down there. Okay. Well, it has some fixed camera angles. Now that there's multiple enemies on screen, we're still good. Let's continue jumping around. But the art style in this game is pretty impressive. Now that I'm seeing it in the modern day, it actually still looks pretty good. They knocked it out of the park on this one. Oof. Okay. Perfection. So let's jump into the next one. DMC Devil May Cry. So the best one in the franchise. Nah, I'm kidding. Very controversial one. We're using the highest settings with native resolution. And I'll first show you with unlocked frame rates. Just because there's people that own a Steam Deck OLED that wanted to know what performance was like. And what to say, it's over 100 FPS, so it shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. Battery life though will be like 90 minutes, give or take. Maybe 100 minutes. And these enemies are so annoying, Jesus Christ. I'll keep shooting them. But it's not a hard to run game. This always run well on PC, at least for me. And getting into the 100 FPS mark is not difficult. I think they nailed the art style for this one as well, although it looks a bit more cartoony than the previous ones. So the grit from Devil May Cry is basically missing. Oof. In the meantime, let's lock the frame rate so you guys can see the battery life with locked frame rates. So when you lock the frame rates, the system usage is significantly lower, obviously. Okay, yeah. This enemy doesn't care. So you're probably going to have 2.5 hours of battery.
Hey, through here.
Yeah, this way. Which is good enough, at least in my opinion. Considering it's a game from the PS3 era, I think that's better than usual.
Get lost.
So yeah, let me know if you ever played this one. I think personally that the gameplay is good, then the rest of the game, well, leaves a lot more to be desired. But it's a fun game. The thing is, if you play the other ones, it's hard to go back to this one. Sometimes. Hi there. So as you can see, 2.5 hours of battery, give or take, a little bit longer maybe. So the amount of playing time is pretty good. And finally, Devil May Cry 5, 800p, everything like this. And then if you go to the bottom, everything like this. And this one, I'm also targeting 6 FPS. Believe it or not, RE Engine game, very good visuals, at least in my opinion. The characters look incredible, the monsters as well. And considering the good visuals, it can run at 6 FPS on Steam Deck. Although the battery life, of course, it won't be as good as in the other games, because it's more demanding. One thing that I do find disappointing about this game is that on the PC version, the ray trace reflections do not exist, so there's no option. Although on the Steam Deck it doesn't matter really, because we're not playing with ray tracing. But it would have been nice to have it, in my opinion at least. And I will expect on this one 90 minutes of battery, unless you lock it to 40 FPS or something. Which in that case will be maybe 2.5 hours. A great looking game. I don't know how they did it to make it run like this, but I'm happy to report that it's awesome on Steam Deck. I also made a video showing more of Devil May Cry 5, which you should find the pinned comment. I talk more about the settings, more about the levels, and when it runs well and when it doesn't. Showing you, again, a more in-depth review of the performance on Steam Deck. But specifically talking about battery life targeting 60, you're getting like 2 hours maybe, 1.5 to 2 hours.
What are demons doing in a city like this?
Cool, I have my arm back. And it's 6 FPS on a handheld. Although, unfortunately, 16:9 only, it's not 16:10. So you get bars on the top and bottom of the screen. And if you have a Steam Deck OLED, you can probably get away with 80 FPS, maybe, if you don't mind lowering the settings. That's hilarious. So yeah, that's about it. The Devil May Cry franchise on Steam Deck is incredible, at least in my opinion. 60 FPS on all of them. They all have more than 2 hours of battery life, except in Devil May Cry 5. That one uses more power, which is obvious. Visually, it's way more superior. And if you want to play the originals, they are in a neat package. The first trilogy in HD with completely fine 6 FPS, 16:10. Then Devil May Cry 4 and DMC also look way better and have good battery life. But personally, I would recommend probably Devil May Cry 3, 4 and 5, especially if you haven't played Devil May Cry before. Although after playing 5, it's difficult to go back to the previous ones, at least in my opinion. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did revisiting Devil May Cry. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.